Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to another special episode of Herschel Talkers. We got Angry Scott and casual fan Kris joining us again. How are we doing today?
Doing good, fellas. What's up?
Oh, Trey, I'm doing fantastic. I see that you're wearing the only hat and shirt that you own. Are you like Superman? You just have like a whole closet for Georgia hats and Georgia shirts?
That's right. I switched it up. I think last week I had the gray one and the T-shirt there. So, yeah, switching it up today.
So you have two hats and two shirts. Is that correct?
I do. That's it. And I live in a van down by the river. Hey, make sure, guys, make sure to like and subscribe. Get those subscribers up, hash browns. Hit that like button. Also, hit that notification bell for our weekly podcast here. So, like and subscribe. That'd really help us out.
Let's get it.
Well, Trey, I think what you're trying to say is you want to like and subscribe and get those hashtags up. Or if you're a breakfast fan, you can like and describe those hash browns.
That's right. I like those bow rounds here in Charlotte. Yeah, jumping right into it. So Georgia played Sanford Bulldogs. And like I said last week, the Bulldogs would win, but here nor there. 33-0. I will say this, stalled out in the red zone. That's one of my critiques. We kicked way too many field goals for a small FBS school. I will say Stetson Bennett did pretty well, 24-35, 300 yards. Got the run game a little bit. I'll probably touch on that a little later. It's 30-0 at halftime. I know there's been a lot of criticism that we only got 3 points in the second half. But on Kirby's defense, he was playing one of his big mentors. So Chris Hatcher, who coached at Sanford, gave Kirby Smart back in the day his very first, I believe it was GA role or DB coach role back at Florida at Valdosta State, his very first role. So I think they're really close. And another weird thing I've never heard before, I don't know if you guys have heard of it, Angry Scott or Kris, that they agreed upon before the game to do a 12-minute fourth quarter and run the clock, because I think they knew it was going to be a blowout.
Well,
So
hey,
that was
Kris,
another thing.
Really?
let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a quick question there, Trey. You said that was one of his Kirby's. It was one of his mentors. So he took it easy on him, but he sure as hell didn't take it easy on Oregon's head coach.
I agree. That was I did think about that. Like, he gave him an ass whipping last week, took him to the woodshed, 49-3. I don't know if that was resentment for leaving the program or what, but they were taking pictures after the game, I heard. I think he's pretty close to Chris Hatcher. So that said, having that fourth quarter with 3 minutes and they did a running clock, you can kind of just tell they took the dogs off. But they looked bored and lackadaisical, and you can't do that. They stalled out in the red zone. But it was 33-0. They didn't cover, but they got out. I think they got out with A.D. Mitchell, their wide receiver, got, I think, a tweaked ankle. He should be okay. But the positives is they held them to 0 points. So that's 3 points. I don't care if you did that against flag football, any kind of soccer team, anything against air. 3 points in 2 games. They're number one in total defense. This defense lost several guys, in the first round off that defense. So this defense might be better than we thought. And looking back and saw what Oregon did, we completely took the soul of Oregon 49-3. Well, Oregon goes against Eastern Washington. Bo Nix hangs 70 on them, which, as you know, in any football game, 70 points is great. Bo Nix 5 touchdowns. So this defense might be better than I thought, is what I'm saying.
Yes, the powerhouse of Eastern Washington, Trey.
It is. But still, if you put 70 and we hold them, so just saying, 3 points in 2 games, not too shabby. If I had to say, I'm a little worried about the run game because we only averaged 4 yards a carry, and we're still not having explosive runs. I think our longest one was like 19, just being really picky here. Didn't turn the ball over, only had 4 penalties for 25 yards. So all in all, I don't think a lot of people will watch this game, and a lot of the people that called in some of the call shows that I follow said this was a very boring game to watch. So I felt like this was just 4 o'clock SEC network. Everybody saw Stanford. It was going to be a blowout. So anyway, took care of business, 33-0. Didn't know your thoughts on that. We move ahead to the Boom Chicken Shamecocks at Columbia, South Carolina this week. What's your guys' thoughts?
I'll give you my quick thoughts on it. Hey, here's the good news about this game is you weren't like Texas A&M when you played App State. Okay, I'm sure you paid Samford something to bring him in. I think think Texas A&M paid App State like $1.5 million to get beat. Bama, hey, we all thought Bama was going to take Texas to the woodshed. Not so much, okay? I mean, Bama should have probably lost that game with Quinn Ewers in that game. I mean, you never know, but I watched that whole game, Bama and Texas. So, I think, man, Texas had a really good chance. We can pull back on the reins that Texas isn't going to, do well coming into the SEC. So I will say this from a Georgia perspective. I think Georgia right now is number one in both polls. Or no, maybe they're in the coaches. I think on the AP, they're number one. And the coaches, they still have Bama. I mean, I think Georgia is the number one team in the nation right now, So, yes, you're paying Sanford. You can't get up for that. But here's the thing I'm going to praise Georgia for. And once again, hey, I'm an Ohio State fan. But Georgia, 30 points in the first half. So then you get up enough that you don't have to do anything in the second half. You can go ahead and you get the backups some playing time. Looks like Stetson Bennett went 24 for 35 for 300 yards. I did not see much of the game, but here's the thing is you paid somebody to come in. You did what you're supposed to do, and you got out with no injuries that I'm aware of. Would you say was there a guy that tweaked his ankle a little bit?
Yeah, he's one of our starting wideouts, but from what I'm reading, he could have came back in, but he should be good to go for this week. We'll see though.
So, I mean, if that's this is when we'll talk about this on another podcast, but that's what I wanted Ohio State to do was dominate the first half. So then you can get your backups a lot of playing time. And I mean, this is the other thing that we can look forward to, hopefully in a couple of years from now, or at least no later than 2026 when they expand the playoffs. I think there needs to be less games against the Samfords of the world, against the Arkansas States of the world. I'm sure Texas A&M doesn't want to play the App States of the world either. But point is, or if you want to do some of these, are they FBS or FCS, Sanford?
I believe FBS, but I'm not sure.
Okay. I mean, if they're FBS, they're like, way down there, right? Anyways, point is, if you want to do these as air quotes preseason games and not have them count, fine. But if they're gonna whenever they do expand the playoff, they're gonna take some of these BS games out. And I mean, that's what I would look forward to. Beyond that, man, you still win 33-0. You still have a shutout. It is still difficult to shut out a team, and you did enough in the first half. You don't have to worry about the second half. Beyond that, I'll be honest with you, I didn't watch much of the game, but this is, I'm an Ohio State guy and didn't watch much of the Ohio State-Arkansas State game. It was tough to make it through that whole game when Texas-Bama was on at the same time.
Exactly.
What are your thoughts there, Trey?
Hey, Casual Kris from Ohio. How are we doing today?
I'm hanging in there. We didn't get very much. I didn't get to watch this game up here in the Midwest, but I mean, Scott, you kind of hit most of the points there. Looks like this is a good confidence builder for the squad, right? A little bit of garbage time for the backups, right?
Sure.
So it gives you another chance to take a look at how the backups do under a little bit more game time conditions. So I'm not sure who's your do you have a true backup QB yet, or is that fully settled?
Yeah, actually, we have Carson Beck, and the good thing is Kirby usually in the past would hand the ball off like for the next 2 quarters and just grind clock. They actually let him throw it around a little bit. I think he's like 5 of 6. He looked pretty good, but Carson Beck, 6'4", pretty good arm, not as mobile as Stetson Bennett. So I feel pretty confident. I mean, I would still kind of like you guys have to put my diapers on if he had to come in the game, but he's a pretty good backup. So I mean, he's getting some experience, and he's been in the program. I think he's his 4th year in the program, redshirt. So he's redshirt junior, I think.
Okay, so from my point of view, it's a good chance to get him some game reps, let him break an actual sweat against real competition, and it still gives you guys a good feel, high confidence as a now number one as you start to gear up for your conference games coming up here. So again, I think you made the best of the half with your starters. You made a point, and you can walk away feeling good.
Right.
Hey, Trey, so when you say your diapers, you have to put your diapers on when you're up 30-0 at halftime and your backup comes in. Is he that fucking horrible?
No, I just said if he had to come in the game, I'd probably have to put my diapers on. If Stetson Bennett got knocked out. Hey, I hate to say this. God forbid if Stetson Bennett got knocked out, I would get a little nervous. Kind of like you last week, against Notre Dame. Didn't you say you had you felt some bowel movements coming out or something?
No, the turtle was poking his head.
Oh yeah,
that's what I said.
Okay,
but hold on a second. So you're saying that your backup quarterback cannot go out and beat Sanford? I understand
You
if
can,
you're
you
worried
can.
about him against, maybe next week or down the road with another, powerhouse SEC team. But I mean, your backup should be able to go out there and beat Sanford, no problem, right?
He's serviceable. Yeah, he doesn't
Yes,
he doesn't blow he doesn't blow my hair back yet.
I hear you. Now, and for the record, just so all of the listeners know, Trey and Kris, they're best friends because Trey obviously knows how to spell his name, which he always spells it wrong. It's Kris, not
I'm getting there.
Chris. And he obviously the best friends because he knows where he lives. He keeps on saying he lives in Ohio, even though he lives in Indianapolis. Trey and Kris, you heard it here first, best friends.
There you go.
BFFs. There we go.
Next episode, Trey will rattle off my home address.
Yes, indeed.
All right, looking ahead. So we've got South Carolina, at Columbia. I will say not the greatest stadium for all you South Carolina fans out there. My friend Uncle Lou, who's having some problems, issues, love that guy. He calls it the Trailer Park in Willie B, which is in Columbia. I looked ahead at the forecast. I think it's going to be a little cooler than usual because if you've ever been to Columbia, South Carolina, it is an oven there. So I think it's like 85, 86, hopefully no rain. 12 o'clock kick. Always nervous about these noon games at ESPN. I got Spencer Rattler coming off Arkansas, kind of put the whooping on them, 44-30. So I heard they're not good on the offensive line in the trenches. They gave up 300 yards to Arkansas. Arkansas has a physical team. So I feel like this is a really good matchup. I think we need to contain Spencer Rattler and feel pretty good about this one, but the noon game. But another thing is Kirby was pretty, you can tell he's pretty animated after the game. Didn't really like the performance in the second half in the red zone. So I feel like you're going to get a focused team this week. Last week they might have took a week off just because it was Sanford. But Georgia at South Carolina, 24.5 point spread. If I had to make a pick, I'm going to say I like 38-14. I'm not sure about the 24.5 points, but my pick's going to be 38-14. We're just too deep. I think we get to Spencer Rattler, and our offense will be hopefully guns a-blazing. What's your guys' thought?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and give you my thoughts on this. So who is the coach now of South Carolina? Is it Frank Beamer's son? Is it Shane Beamer? Is that right?
Shane Beamer, who's recruited pretty well. They ended up 7-6 and beats North Carolina. So good. I just think he's kind of running into just doesn't have enough talent on the SEC level,
So this is his second year in South Carolina. Is that right?
They like him down there too. They talk really good about him.
Well, I mean, we'll see. He's just trying to get his program going. I mean, hey, I see that South Carolina played Georgia State the first
Yep. They needed two
game
special team
of the year.
touchdowns. Yeah.
Well, hey, things could have been worse. I keep on going back to your boy, the auctioneer, Jimbo Fisher. Could have lost. I mean, yes, I guess App State's better than Georgia State, but wasn't it Georgia State that beat Tennessee years ago? I'm pretty sure it was Georgia State. So,
yeah.
I mean, Arkansas, man, they lost that second game to Arkansas, but it was at Arkansas. Man, Arkansas is a pretty good team. I think their coach got the program heading in the right direction. I don't think it's going to be enough for Georgia, not with Georgia's, and it's at Georgia, right?
Oh, it's actually at South Carolina, and
it is at South Carolina.
We've struggled in the past, but the last two times we've pretty much blown them out. But before that when Spurrier was there, it's kind of a house of horrors for us. But I feel this is a different time,
Well, it looks like it's a 24.5 point spread. Man, I'm going to take the Bulldogs in the points.
Nice.
And to your point, I don't know as though Spencer Rattler's looked great so far, at least from what I've seen with him there at South Carolina. So, it is one of those. You remember last year when Spencer Rattler was playing for Oklahoma, and everybody said, "Hey, he's gonna, preseason Heisman Trophy winner," and DJU, however you pronounce his last name at Clemson, he was going to big time too. Well, you never know until they start playing the games. Okay, so is the talent there? Sure. Is there enough talent around him at South Carolina to beat Georgia? I don't think so. I think Georgia right now is still coming off that gorillas off your back from last year. The 40-year curse is gone now. I'm sorry, 42-year curse, right? So
41.
Oh, 41. Pardon me. So regardless, hey, there is no drought. The drought is over. You have the shortest drought in college football right now in terms of championships. So I think your still confidence is riding high. I think you're going to go in. I want to take Georgia in the points. I think Georgia's going to win by 30.
Nice. I like it. Here's Spencer Rattler. Like I said, not really great so far. 2 touchdowns, 3 picks. He looked a little better, but he struggled. Actually, the first week against Georgia State, he had a QBR rating dead last in the SEC, which is interesting. So I just think we got too much talent. I think you can get Kirby focused. Noon game, I could see him, the crowd with Sandstorm is really interesting. I actually used to like that EDM song, but they got the chickens going there, the Sandstorm. When they score, if you hear that a lot, you're in trouble there at the stadium. But got some Georgia Bulldog buddies are heading down. Actually, Big Sean's going to head down. Not sure where that guy is. He might head down with me. Scott,
Would
you remember
love.
that? You remember that guy?
I would love to have Big Sean back on the show.
Yeah,
Big Sean, I know you're out there, you're listening. You're sorely missed.
Right.
Don't forget that when a text comes in, it's okay to reply to it. And if a call comes in, it's okay to call back. Okay, and take those 5 minutes. But Sean,
Awesome.
you're sorely missed. Hopefully, you find some time to enjoy this game on a Saturday. I mean, look, man, crazy things have happened.
Oh yeah, I agree.
I mean, last week, everyone was, hey, what was it? 17.5-point favored Bama over Texas.
Yeah.
And it was at Texas. Now, I don't think that this South Carolina team is Texas with the way they're coaching. But you never know what's going to happen. It's just that, man, it's one thing when Quinn Ewers comes down and, hey, super big talent from Ohio State there to Texas, and he hasn't really played very much yet, so you don't know what he's going to do. He's going to show up. Spencer Rattler at this point in time, transfer from Oklahoma. Do we know what he is? I think we know what he is. I mean, didn't you said, was it the first week of the year? Was it last week? He had the lowest QBR in the SEC.
Yeah, Spencer Rattler. Yeah.
So I don't know, man. Hey, he could turn it around. He could light the world on fire next week, but I just don't think they have enough, man. I don't think they have the studs. I don't think what they had when Spurrier was there. So yeah, I think, man, I think Georgia's going to win big.
I like it. 38-14. I got the dogs rolling. We'll see. Hopefully, we'll get out with no injuries. Gonna jump over here to our great sponsor, Viva Seltzer. Wanted to mention them again. They're so gracious to have us as a sponsor this year. We got vivaseltzer.com with the different elderberry, huckleberry, grapefruit, and watermelon. You got any good things to say about Viva Seltzer, Scott?
Well, whether it's a huckleberry while playing around a golf or an elderberry after a Saturday morning workout, their flavors pair perfectly with their artisanal Blanco tequila for our subtle, refreshing drinks. Their belief is live long, live well, and live it up. Hashtag Viva Up. So, yes, I think this is a delicious seltzer. Kris or Trey, can you tell the folks where you can get a Viva Seltzer? Are they out in the grocery stores?
Yeah, I believe they're out the grocery stores nationally. Believe they might be at Costco, and they're not. I know we have Harris Teeter here, but it's some other of the larger grocery stores. But yeah, you can check them out here. Here's their website. Also, vivaseltzer.com, and check them out at Viva Seltzer on Instagram. But yeah, really great product. I believe I'm going to tailgate this weekend, try this elderberry at the tailgate. So might have a couple of those. Might be early morning, hopefully around 11. I get to open one up. I'm not really a big, early morning drinker, but we'll see. Also, jumping right into it.
When you say you're not an early morning drinker, are you more like a late morning drinker?
I'm not really a big day drinker, though. If I'm out with friends, I'll partake. I'm more of a night drinker. How about that?
There you go.
There it is. Hey, so jumping around, big thing in college football was yesterday. They get rid of Scott Frost from Nebraska. He had a really bad loss against, hey, a little known fact, my alumni, Scott, Georgia Southern, puts the nail in the coffin with Clay Hilton, the old USC coach. I think it's 45-42. And
Clay
they fired
Helton?
him. Was that?
Clay Helton from USC.
That's correct. Was the coach at Georgia Southern coming over from USC. 45-42. I believe Scott Frost was 16 and 31. Another stat for you, Scott. In 7 points or less game or one possession games, Scott Frost was 5 and 22 during his career at Nebraska. I think we all knew this was coming, but the big thing is the whole buyout thing. Do you want to have your thoughts on that?
Yeah. So here's the problem with Nebraska fans. Nebraska fans, look, it's not the mid 1990s and it's not the 1970s. and Osborne is not your coach. So I think the last time they played for a championship, I want to say it was 2001 during the BCS era, Nebraska and Miami. Are those days ever going to come back? It is tough to get people to come to Nebraska. But the problem with I have Nebraska fans is they rather have a nice coach than a coach that provides results. Okay, ideally, you want a little bit of both. Maybe an Ohio State guy. Who did I like more, Jim Tressel or Urban Meyer? Well, I like Jim Tressel more. Now, they both won us a championship. I think Urban Meyer was probably the better coach. But at the end of the day, I mean, Nick Saban isn't exactly Mr. Likable, but he sure as hell, provides results. So the problem when I say that in Nebraska is outside of, Coach Osborne and when he retired, Bo Pelini used to go 9-3 there. And they used to say, hey, that wasn't enough. I guess that's best he can do, 9 wins. I mean, what would you do now as a Nebraska fan to have 9 wins? What would you do? How many of your children would you give up, Nebraska fans out there, to have 9-win season? Okay. And then, but we don't like him and he doesn't always win the big game. And okay. 9-3 though. Okay. And then Frank Solich, they fired him. And now I remember who their AD is now. Trev Alberts. I remember him in the early 2000s going off, hey, they made the right call firing Frank Solich after a 10-win season. I'm like, well, this is what happened. So you had Bill Callahan, not much happened. You had a very nice guy who was the coach from Oregon State who came over. I forget his name right now. Tells you how successful he did. And all those guys. And then, hey, you bring in Scott Frost after he came off of his fake national championship in UCF. And hey, that's the guy that was there last time we won a split national championship with Michigan in 1997. Say, hey, you brought in the guy. It has been a tremendous failure. I had no idea it would be such a failure. So, I mean, that is, and his biggest issue is, look, man, I actually think they have some talent on the roster, but they just lose close games. And you're losing versus garbage teams. You're losing versus Northwestern, and you had a very good chance to win. So that was, the first game in Ireland. Okay. And then they play North Dakota close, not even the good North Dakota State where Carson Wentz came from. And who's the other guy who's playing for the 49ers right now? Is it Trey Lance?
Trey Lance.
Both came from North Dakota State. You didn't, but you instead you're going toe to toe with North Dakota and you come out of the win and then you lose to Georgia Southern. Trey, I know that's your, where you graduated from, but at the same point in time, like, look, man, there's a reason they're not a big school. And there's a reason that, yes, Clay Helton, former USC coach, is there. Dude, you can't be losing those games. And so now what surprises me is, are they doing him a solid by saying, hey, let me go ahead. I think the buyout went from $15 million down to $7.5 million on October 1st. So are they saying, hey, let me do you a solid and give you this extra $7.5 million? Why wouldn't you just wait a couple weeks? Or did some big boosters call in and be like, look, if you ever want to get my money again, you need to fire him immediately. Because what happens, I guess you can look at what happens. They're playing Oklahoma this next week. What happens if he goes and he beats Oklahoma or he wins one of the first Big Ten games? Then, hey, maybe you let it play out. But it is kind of in college football. That's when everybody says, oh, hey, they're still amateurs. The fuck they are, man. If they're firing a coach the third game into the season, how is this amateur sports? It's not even the end of September. It's not even mid-September, and he's gone. Yeah. Which what that says to me is you should have never brought him back. You should, if you're going to pay that buyout, you should have pulled the Band-Aid off and found a new coach last year. So now you have all season. You've already given up on the season unless the interim coach comes in and does a great job. You've given up on the rest of the season. So it's been a huge mess, a huge failure bringing in Scott Frost. And I didn't see that happen. I actually remember a tweet getting sent out from one of the Nebraska, I think it was the athletic director at the time. And it was like, ooh, Urban Meyer and Jim Harbaugh, are you scared about Scott Frost coming in? Turns out they're not.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, Scotty Frost is an elite company, though, right? Didn't Lane Kiffin also get the boot super early? Hell, he didn't even get off the plane for his when he got fired.
Right.
And then another SEC great, Ed Orgeron, right? He they paid him another tens of millions of bucks just to get the hell out of there. But again, he had a little bit of a different scenario, right?
He did.
Too many of his girlfriends hanging out. Well, also, he had multiple of his girlfriends on the practice field, kind of getting in the way of practice. Yeah. And he wasn't winning.
Chris, wait, you talk about practice, not the game. We talk about some practice. Now, if he was winning, they would say, hey, you only have a couple of your girlfriends? Would you like to have some more girlfriends out here? But then all of a sudden, when you're not winning, you're like, we need to get these girlfriends off. This is unacceptable.
And that's the lowest common denominator. So, I mean, LSU, big money school, huge football alumni base. Same thing with Southern Cal and Lane Kiffin stunk it up over there. I guess Nebraska sees themselves as another valuable football brand. And, oh, yeah, Scotty made some horrible coaching decisions. So, I guess that was enough.
Looks like Nebraska thinks they're a big football brand. What year am I living in? Am I living in 1995? Am I living in 2001?
Hey, dude, get those Zubaz shorts on and let's live it up. Pepsi
I mean, what
Zubaz,
year is it, man? Have I just entered a time machine 25 years ago?
Hey, man, play up Glory Days.
Sure.
Let's do it.
So that's the thing. Or can you look, man? It is difficult to get the people to come to Nebraska. That being said, he actually did a halfway decent job of recruiting. It's just, it was a huge forward. Mike Riley was the guy's name who came from Oregon State to be in Nebraska. So there's the problem with Nebraska fans that, they always say Nebraska fans are supposed to be great fans and nice folks. And Kris, you remember years ago when they joined the Big Ten, we actually went to Ohio State Nebraska game, and there actually was some Nebraska fans bought us some beer. So actually pretty nice fans.
Super nice.
But here's the problem with the expectations. Okay. The problem with the expectations are if you're that nice and you're buying, fans of the other team beers, then maybe you shouldn't have a coach so damn nice. Maybe focus more on the results. And if he's not the best guy, I mean, as long as he's not doing horrible things off the field, do you want results or do you not want results? Yes, you want a nice guy and results, but if you have to pick between the two, which one are you going to pick? I'm going to pick the results.
Yeah.
Unless we got a Joe Paterno, Penn State situation going on, then I can't look the other way.
Hey, so real quick, touch on it. Like, I was listening to some podcasts and ESPN, but who would want this job after this? Like, hard to recruit. Here's some names on USA Today: Matt Campbell, Iowa State. I don't know if he'd be that dumb. You got Dave Doran. He's built up NC State. These are some names. Chris Kleiman, Kansas State. I heard this guy could turn it around. Also, a little known fact: who has the number one total offense in the nation currently?
I'm sure you're going to tell us.
This guy right here, Kansas. This ain't no basketball. They put up 111 points. I don't care if you do that in soccer, NAU, volleyball, whatever. 111 points. They might get blown out, but this guy, whatever this dude doing, Lance Leupold, not a fancy name. Might want to look at him. I guess I see Nebraska as a higher than Kansas job.
Yes. Well, so here's what I'll say. Honestly,
hey, Mark Stoops for Kentucky? No, he wouldn't be that dumb. I mean, Kentucky better than Nebraska, right? Even though they're mid-tier. We're not a basketball school anymore. They said beat the Gators. Thank you for that.
Well, I'm gonna say this, right? I'm gonna say that a lot of these guys, if they're smart, they're gonna say, "Hey, yeah, I'm not interested in the gold job, but maybe I'm interested in the job." So, like the guy from NC State, I used to live in Raleigh, live in Charlotte now. Listen to the NC State. I had a customer of mine says, I said, "What are your expectations?" And this guy had unrealistic expectations from NC State. This is years ago. He's like, "We need to be winning championships." And I was like, ACC championships? I mean, what are you talking about? National championships, brother? You just focus on the ACC. And I think the last time they won the ACC was 1979. He actually has. They've got something going on at NC State. Is Nebraska a bigger program than NC State? Yes, they are. That being said, if you've built something up and you're going to the middle of nowhere, I would do that too for a bunch of money. Okay. So here's I don't think he'll leave, but I think he'll say, well, maybe I'm interested. And then they'll get a raise. So that's what half the guys will do. I think Matt Campbell is going over from Iowa State to Nebraska. Hey, look, man, if you can bring people to Iowa, you can bring people to Nebraska. If you can bring people to Kansas, you can bring people to Nebraska. If you can bring people to Kentucky to play football, you can bring people to Nebraska. So that is, do I think Mark Stoops will leave? I don't think he'll leave. The only thing is, I think he coached at Oklahoma with his brother there, Bob Stoops. So you're still in that general area. Yes, I know Nebraska's not Oklahoma, but Oklahoma isn't exactly the Mecca either. So, I mean, define middle of nowhere, So I see a guy, probably not Mark Stoops, but I see a guy maybe jumping over like the Kansas guy you're talking about, or I could actually really see Matt Campbell. It's going to be tough for him to leave. I think he would be a very good fit.
Okay. Any thoughts, Kris? Gonna be a no-name hire? Or?
I hope not. I mean, they'll probably ride out the coordinator train for the rest of the season. I would say get as big of a splash coach as you can, right? If they're trying to restore the brand to the glory days,
Right.
you got to make Nebraska attractive. I mean, they've done pretty well with who's their transfer quarterback from Texas or wide receiver as well. But just keep on that train, make Nebraska look as attractive as possible to these recruits,
Right.
which means NIL money. But I have no clue, if I'm completely honest. If I'm 18 years old, I have no desire to go to Nebraska at my 18-year-old life.
But Tom Osborne did that. He brought kids from New Jersey into Nebraska, and, have you heard the expression, you put lipstick on a pig? So I don't know if you try to just put lipstick on that Cornhusker, maybe that'll get you there. But, I mean, they've got the fan base. They got that.
Yeah, they've got the tradition.
They don't know what to do with it.
Right. All right, well, real quick, jumping into it, I want to touch on App State just shocking number 6, Texas A&M. Your boy, Angry Scott, Jimbo Fisher. What do you call him?
Oh, the auctioneer, man. If you ever listen to him talk, if anybody remembers, as I go back to it, and the micro machines commercial, hey, we got one over here, we got two over there, we got one over here, we got two, we got one. So, yes, I'm going way back into the 90s. If anybody remembers Micro Machines, the fast talking guy, that was probably Jimbo Fisher's father. Anyways, I do not like Jimbo Fisher, and because he's getting mouthy, and you want to go back out at Saban, then so be it. But look, man, don't talk about how difficult the SEC is if you can't beat App State. Okay. And dude, it's App State, man. Hey, you got the number 1 recruiting class, then hey, well, a couple years from now they'll be good. And those are all the excuses the announcers start making when you fucking roll an egg. I mean, App State looks pretty good right now. Now they take North Carolina to the brink, and then they go down to College Station and beat, air quotes, the number 6 team in the nation, which we'll get into it on another podcast, whether Notre Dame was really the number 5 seed or the number 8 seed either. But man, Sun Belt, Fun Belt, they showed up big, right? App State beats Texas A&M. Ha ha ha! I watched the end of that game, enjoyed it immensely. And then you've got Marshall, also from the Sun Belt, beating Notre Dame, and then also Ohio State played a team from the Sun Belt, but we won 45-12. Ha ha ha! So I don't know, man. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it immensely. What are your thoughts on it there, Kris?
Oh, nothing better than a good old fashioned spoiler. So again, seeing Jimbo Fisher kind of take it to the old sack, I was just a little icing on the cake. But it reminded me of the good old days when old Rich Rodriguez from the team up north, that'd be Michigan for our non-Ohio State followers. But it was just really good to see App State get another just soul-crushing win.
And so, also
cheers to the little guy.
And also for our for our casual fans out there like Kris, Rich Rodriguez was actually not the coach at Michigan when they lost to App State. It was Lloyd Carr, the guy who won the national title.
That's right. Good memory. So there you go.
Oh, yeah.
Don't get old.
But I mean, the reason I love it so much is I listen to all these SEC teams bitch and we win all these other conferences. Well, apparently you want to win the Sun Belt, so I don't want to fucking hear it. If you've come up short and you don't make the playoffs this year, this is what you can do, Jimbo. Go and look in the mirror and say the following: "This is my fault and no one else's."
Yep, I agree. One quick thing, couple of stats that was interesting. So I love it because I kind of call this is I knew they didn't really have a quarterback at the first year. They have they're loaded on defense, number 1 recruiting class, all these 5-stars. But 17-14, this Haynes King kid, is like watching paint dry. Another stat is I think App State had 83 offensive plays to their 38, and he was 13-20 for 97 yards, and they couldn't run the ball, 18 for 89. And they got the U coming next week to Texas A&M. You got Alabama, that one's circle for all the trash talk. Another thing I wanted to mention, this is from our boy 247 Josh Pate, the late kick. If you ever follow him, here's some stats because I love the recruiting part. All right, so from 2018 to 2012, how many 4 and 5-stars do you think's on the roster for, let's say, Texas A&M? If you had to guess, just a guess. There's 85 scholarship players. You guys give a guess, and then I'll give you App State's. This is just interesting, real quick.
I'm gonna say third. Boy, because they had a bunch, man.
Just
I'm gonna say
currently on team.
11.
4 and 5 stars?
A&M.
Yeah, A&M, and then I'll tell you like App States, just to tell you
I'm
the
gonna
whole
go
way.
19.
So you guys are way off. All right, 4 and 5 stars on the roster, 85 men. There's 56 in the recruiting search. 56.
Well, I thought you said just 5 stars. I didn't know that was 4
Oh,
and 5
sorry.
stars.
Well, four and 5 stars.
Okay, I
So
thought just 5 stars. Okay.
56. All right, spending budget for 2021. I assume this is NIL and recruiting. What's your guess? Like money wise.
Oh my God, spending budget 500
That's what's-
million. I have no idea.
So
We'll go 14 mil.
all right, he's all right. 36.8. Jimbo Fisher makes $9 million as his salary, right? Let's go over to App State. How many 4 and 5 stars do you think they have on the team?
0.
They have 1, close. Football spending budget is 9.7, and Sean Clark's annual salary is $425,000 to $9 million. And Jimbo Fisher guy's ass whipped at home, 17-14.
Hey, if
Well,
I'm Nebraska, I'm
coaching
looking
right
at
there.
App State's head coach. Holy
coaching.
cow.
Yeah, anyway. So anyway, they brought that out. Hey, 247. Got that graphic out there. I just thought it was crazy. You got all the money, all the resources.
I'm looking at these. I'm looking at what they got coming up, man. They're playing Miami. Miami's looking better. They got a good Arkansas team. They've got Alabama, man. Florida. How good is Florida?
Mississippi State, dude. You're literally, if they don't get it turned around, you might be looking at 7-5, 8-4. Jimbo's in his 6th year. He has almost the exact same record as Kevin Sumlin. Bringing that name out, was he out in Arizona somewhere? You're getting $9 million a year. You got Game 7. He might be hot seat next year, like smoking hot if he goes 8-4. I think because you got like, hey, what are you doing, buddy? We're giving you everything.
That's a lot of, honestly, man. That is a lot of 4-loss seasons. Okay, yes. And right now, I think they say Ohio State is number 1 at NIL. We've talked about that before, but you want to talk about alumni backing, man. Texas A&M is right up there with Texas and everybody else. So there is a ton of Texas A&M alumni, but Jimbo, man, I mean, just talk about that shit in off season. You're looking past App State. So, I mean, I loved it.
Exactly. Hey, we'll also take Georgia because we whiffed on a lot of those guys you got. We'll take some of those Texas A&M transfers in the portal. You want to come on down to Athens? We'll take you if you're not happy. And College Station, come on down.
Well, real quick, do you want to cover any other games there, Trey?
I just really like the Fun Belt is what everybody's joking about. You know, Marshall, like you mentioned, Marshall over Notre Dame, Georgia Southern taking out Nebraska, getting them fired, and then App State over that. I thought it was great, and it was good parity for college football that these smaller teams with the less talent just rose up and kind of punched the big boys in the mouth. So it's probably actually really good. And I want to touch on this. I am a Georgia fan. I want to say that as of week 2, there's not a scary team out of there, not even Georgia. Like we stalled out. If you watched our game closely, we have holes in our game. I will say Ohio State, if you can get those wideouts, you're scary good. Bama usually has a tough September game. They might just start rolling people, but there's obviously some issues there. If you really think about it, it's not like a complete bulldozer old machine in college football, which is good. It might make stuff interesting. So,
well, I think, and the Georgia fans are going to like this. I think if there is a dominant team right now, is Georgia. Okay, and you know your team better than I do, Trey. But I think if there is a dominant team, it's Georgia. I would say, let me ask you about this real quick and get you both your thoughts. Is Texas better than what they thought they were? Or is Alabama worse? I mean, Alabama, I don't think it's the juggernaut that we thought they were. I watched that whole game, man, and they got dominated. That D for Texas is real. I think that has a lot to do with Gary Patterson, used to be the head coach at TCU, has come up and he's special assistant to the coach or whatever. But, dude, I'm telling you, if Quinn Ewers and that horrific Molly, he looks like a caveman out there. But if he goes and he plays that whole game, man, I give that game to Texas because you saw everybody was like, well, hey, maybe the boosters really the ones that wanted Quinn playing. And, hey, there hasn't been that high of a ranking and the whole recruiting thing since Vince Young is what I heard during the game. But, dude, you saw that talent, man. He stretched the field, and you saw, at least from what I saw on Saturday, you saw what he beat out Hudson Card. So, and even then, man, there were some questionable calls. I think it was a safety if you watched that one play towards the end of the game. I mean, they definitely had their chances to win that game. Texas, apparently, here's the other thing. Fox and the big noon kickoff. What are you doing putting that game on at 12 noon? Okay,
Exactly.
if you want to have a Ohio State, Arkansas State at 12 noon, fine. But you got Texas and Alabama playing at 12 noon. Now maybe that helps. But both those teams are from the South. They said on the field there was a 2-mile-per-hour wind, and it was 120 degrees. I mean, they played on the surface of the sun, for Christ's sake. So Fox,
Nuts.
let me just say this. We'd love to have you sponsor the college football, or we'd love to have you sponsor here, the Herschel Talkers. But that being said, have the big 8 p.m. kickoff or something. What are you doing going and having these games at 12 noon? You did it last year with Ohio State and Oregon, and and we didn't play up to how we wanted to, and Oregon beat Ohio State. But I mean, look, man, Texas outplayed them, should have won the game. I don't think Alabama's as tough as what they have been in the past. So I mean, definitely a chink of that armor.
All right, guys.
Scotty.
You got anything else I'll get off your chest? To quote my boy Chael Sonnen.
I would love to have everyone like and subscribe to Herschel Talkers, as well as the Brutal Truth Buckeye podcast. And if we'll get a hashtag out there. And if you don't want to like and subscribe, that's okay. If you're big fan of breakfast, I would love you to like and describe those hash browns to us.
Exactly. Also, check out that Viva Seltzer, tasty beverage when you're on the golf course or at the game. So that's great.
Quench your thirst.
Also, check out talkingdogs.com for all your merch and everything for Talking Dogs recruiting. Great forum on there, talkingdogs.com. All right, boys. Well, appreciate you coming on again, and that's Herschel Talkers, and we're out.
There you go. Another good one, Trey.
Thank you.